Good morning, everybody. This is Nitro, Life's Resurrection Project. So, still a little sore from yesterday. Mr. Zeus, say hi. Okay, he did that. Back out there again. Spent the whole day out there yesterday. Hot one. So today I'm just, I see a lot of my brothers, Professional Monkey, Danny D'Lo, Black Dragon, Demons Row. They all do a little piece on prospect phases. Now I had joined the club and I got out before my prospect phase was done. It just wasn't the right fit for me. I did everything right. Being an airbrush artist, it was, I think, kind of where they wanted me to go with some of my talents. And someday I'll put up some stuff of some of the bikes I painted. Oh, this is my girl. Yeah, she's been with me a long time. So it's a 2005 FLHTC Screaming Eagle 2 CVO. I think I got pretty close to 40,000 miles on her. I take care of everything on her, except for tires and engine work. Everything else. The only thing I've done different to this bike is paid for somebody to put in a 1500 watt stereo system. As you can see, I got 6s in my leg warmer things there. I got 4s, and I think they're all hog tunes. I got 8s in my bags. They're down in there. Those are 8 inches. That's my POW MIA flag, which I fly continuously on my bike just to honor my father. Being a millwright, I made flagpoles for people for a while. So here's my flagpole. I'll put a gusset on the back. It's mounted with some 1 inch, 1 inch, quarter-inch steel plates wrapped in black tape. I think I went through 5 rolls of black tape on each bar, so it doesn't hurt my chrome. And there's some 3/8 bolts. I got pins that hold everything down. But this has been my girl. That's my everyday go to the bar seat. Then I have my big mommy and daddy seat right there for long trips. During my prospect phase, you gotta understand, with being with the American Legion and being with them for so long, when I stepped out, I'd went through a pretty bad divorce. I wound up being in the hospital for a while. At that time, I was prospecting with the club when I wound up in the hospital. And part of things that happen when you're going through a divorce was I had left town for a while. I come back to town. These guys weren't 1%ers out of Chicago. Still love them to death. I miss them all. They were wonderful people to ride with, even when I was running with the Legion. Now, with that being said, I was pretty good friends with one of their lifers before I even started my prospect phase with them. part of the prospect phase with them, and with them being a good club. Um, my mother, my sponsor, wasn't a good fit to start. Um, he wound up not being my mother, so the sponsor, they wound up having the sponsor be the vice president of their crew, who was a brother to me. I love him. I love his wife. I miss them both. Um, Even though my dues were paid up, I handed my colors back because mentally I was in a bad place at the time. I needed to get out of town. My divorce wasn't going through right. There was problems in my life, and it just wasn't a good fit for me at that time. My head's screwed on straight now. I'm not going through any divorces. I'm done with. I found me a good woman that's going to be with me the rest of my life. So, but as far as being a prospect, carrying a prospect bag is probably one of the biggest things you can do as a prospect. When a full patch comes up to you and asks you for something, you best damn well have it in your prospect bag. I don't know if a lot of the other clubs do that, but brother comes up asking you for rolling papers. Brother gets a cut on his finger, you better have band-aids. Brother has a headache, you better have something to give him for that headache. Brother's getting a tattoo and he needs something for that tattoo, you better have it. No matter what it is. If a brother, a full patch, asks you for something, you better have it in that bag. I mean, I had everything. I carried a little bag with me everywhere we went. And if something went down, I better have it in the bag to fix it. We were on our way to Chicago once to do. I think it was a tribute for all the brothers in the club that had fallen. And even my old sponsor, he wound up blowing a tire. What wound up being a road spike in the tire. And I had happened to have a kit that, a patch kit. We was able to patch his tire, fill it up with them little tubes, and he was able to roll, do the whole event, come back home before he did his tire change. Part of my thing was it just wasn't a fit for me mentally at the time. They are now have changed over to a 1% club, so um, I won't speak on that because they're they what transpired was, even though I was out good, I'm not allowed to even be spoken to or spoken about because they had plans for me. Once I patched in, I was me and a brother was going to be the ones in charge of painting every prospect that full patched in's motorcycle. And I wasn't real happy about that one because if anybody knows about paint work, there's a lot of work. This is me and Mama's baby. We like to roll. At some point, I'd like to have a good fit. I'm done with club life. I'm getting old. And if that don't happen, it don't happen. Me and Mama still likes to ride. Like I said, and I'm the president of the Coat of Arms organization, but it's an organization. We honor our ancestral history. And I'll ride with that cut till the day I die. Like I said, once you start something, you stick with it and you ride or die for it. And I will ride or die for that cut the rest of my life. It's my Shadden family history. It goes back 1,000 years. And there's probably 100 members, but our members are males, females, teenagers. As long as you're willing to honor that family history, and I know you and you're good people, then you've earned your cut through me. But once you've earned your cut through me, it's your cut to honor that cut the rest of your life. Those are your ancestors that brought you where you need to be today. With that being said, we still got the dumpster. I got pulled out all these walls. All the old paneling that's on the other side of this building is a beauty shop. So I've got to gut it, get it in the dumpster. See if my old butt can stand up. Oh. And I got a good start on the inside of this. Starting to get this framed off. See where the babies went. Oh, there they are. There's Mr. Zeus. He's like, Dad, are we going to work? What's up? Yeah? It's time for Daddy to go to work. But right now we're just past Keokuk. We live in Missouri now. And even the club, I want to say even the club I rode with, a bunch of the most beautiful people and I've ever met in my life. At the time, mentally, it just wasn't a good fit for me. So, and anybody that's been in that position, I would say, if you're in the middle of a divorce, trying to get in with a club, I think you need to get your problems settled first and have your head on straight before you make a decision like that. It's a big decision. It's a lifelong decision. Lights turned on. Now, we got the door installed. I know a lot of my friends are carpenters, professional carpenters. Nitro's a millwright, so my carpentry skills, I think in my millwright apprenticeship, there was a 6 month phase where we went into I want you to look at the door, look at the opening. Now my opening is perfect. So I got my little green level in here. So we'll set the green level up so you guys can see. Set it up where it's perfect. Oh, I was off a little. Hold on, guys. That's the door from side to side. It's the garage's off kilter. I don't know if you can see that, but it's right on. So side to side, front to back, and on the top. Get up the ladder here one. See if I can get it to sit in here. Don't really have enough room between all my shims. I'll get it to where. And we're right on. So, door's good. The opening isn't, even though I've got everything level on the opening. The garage is so old, it's just crooked as hell. So I still got to come in. I'm gonna put another 2x4 here so I can set my hinges. So once I open that door with a 2x4 set in here, I can set my hinges with some long screws. But this is at a $360 door. And yeah, it doesn't have but the garage, if you put a 2x4 from one end of the garage to the other, the whole concrete floor sucked in like a V when this big crack in the floor. So what I'm gonna do is get a floor leveling cement kit, level the whole garage back out. And that's about it. But I'll tell you, with riding in a club, there ain't no greater feeling than your brothers having your back. You gotta understand, a scorned woman is a scorned woman. Some of the things that happened in that marriage was sad to say. But when you put two families together and you have your ways of disciplining your kids, and they have their ways, and their kids have. My kids are old school gangster. They grew up with their dad always being a biker. So my kids were street raised, hardcore kids. Even though they graduated, they've all got pretty decent jobs. Her kids were church kids, and there's nothing wrong with that because my kids went to private school. They went to a Lutheran school. But once they get out of school, Lutheran only goes up to 6th grade. Once they get out of that 6th grade, then they're shoved into the public school system. And I really wish the Lutheran Church would change that. I could have sent them to a Catholic, but the Catholic school, the amount of money they want to send for each child to put them through Catholic school is astronomically high. And I couldn't afford it. At that time I was working 3 different jobs. I was doing my volunteer ambulance service job at that time, my millwright apprenticeship, and then working my side hustle, airbrushing and painting motorcycles. So I stayed pretty busy. And then, I worked on the Mississippi River for quite a while. And so when you're repairing barges and you're doing work like that, trying to make things work, you're working 14, 16, sometimes 18-hour days trying to fix a barge. A self-offloading barge full of cement powder. So between the foundry, I worked at a foundry, served my apprenticeship in a foundry. And foundry life ain't something you want to play with. Things I've seen in that foundry. I talked to a gentleman for half an hour one day, and the whole time I was talking to him, I didn't know he had chopped his thumb off on the grinder. He was a lifer. He was a mean old man, but he loved me. And he says, "Oh, by the way, I chopped my thumb off." I was like, "Well, damn it, why didn't you say something? We could have took care of this a half an hour ago." So, being working third shift, I just threw him in my Corvette, ran him up to the hospital, got his thumb reattached. I see a 15-ton casting, one of the dog ears off the casting break, and it come down, take a guy's leg off. Seen some pretty serious injuries working in a foundry life. We had an old press, It's a 400-ton press. We used to press out bus axles. I seen a man come up and was talking to the man operating that press. He went to hit the up button to relieve the pressure off that press while he was talking to the guy, and accidentally hit the down button. While the guy was talking to him, that they use these little hardened steel bricks to bring down and press steel axles out to get them within specs. That steel brick of steel shot out of that press and went through right here and came out his backside. He was dead before he hit the floor. That's just foundry life. Foundry life ain't nothing to play with. Steel foundries, yeah. It's not a place. It's not a place for woke people. You got to be a hardened individual to work in a steel foundry. I started as a laborer. I was put down in the pits. For 6 months, I shoveled hot sand coming out of one of the shakers, where they take a mold where it's glowing hot steel, and they bust that mold open, and they take that part and they put it in a shaker. It shakes all the hot sand off of it down into a pit. And then it goes, all that hot sand rolls down that pit, goes up an elevator, and then drops outside. The pit becomes filled with sand, so full of sand that they can't run the belt no more. So they send 2 guys down there every night, third shift, to shovel this pit, and it's about 2 football fields long. You got to keep it clean, shoveled from one end to the other every night. And then believe me, it's about 120, 130 degrees down there. It's not for weak-minded people. And they don't give you no little garden shovel. They give you that big scooper. So each scoop you pick up's about 30, maybe 30 to 40 pounds. But anyway, I gotta get started today. Mr. Zeus, the supervisor out here checking out on me, waiting for me to get started. Mama's pretty happy. Her daughter's coming down today with her grandchild, Layla. We're gonna hang out and visit. I'm gonna get this framing in here done. And then I think I have to run to town to I've used up almost all of my lumber. I think I got 4 boards left. I gotta get some new 2x4s and pick up a few more items. That's what I want to talk about. If you're prospecting is like foundry life. It's not an easy job. There's only a chosen few that can do it. I was at the end of my prospect phase. I had done wonderful with the club. They were looking forward to having me as a brother. But with the torture that I was being put through, I mean, this woman called the cops on me and told them I was suicidal and sent them out to my job. I was making $1,000 a week repairing forklifts for a cousin that got the business from my uncle. The business had been in the family for 30 plus years. And when the police showed up out there, told the manager of this trucking company that the forklift mechanic in the back was suicidal, they locked me, took me out of there, and took me to the hospital, which I was not suicidal. Put me on, was a 72-hour lockdown, and I lost my job over it. And mentally, that was the only way I had to pay. That time I had 2 kids living with me in a studio apartment. So it pretty much ended it for me. But then the Club brothers came and broke me out of the hospital. That's what, brothers do. They knew I was up there. I was able to get to a phone, make a phone call. Next thing I knew, they told me they was coming up to meet me to do anything I could do to get out. I pulled all the IVs out of me and walked out. They met me, picked me up, took me away, put me on 2-week lockdown. They helped try to get my head straight, but it wasn't them. It was all the stress and all the mental wearing down on you when you're going through something like that. And then, having a skill and then telling somebody you're going to take that skill and you're going to do this and you're going to do it for free. So it just wasn't a good fit for me. God bless them. I still love y'all. I still have much respect for y'all. But it is what it is. They shall not be named because they're still a good club. I love them to death. And for Midwest Club, they're awesome people. A lot of fun to be around, a lot of fun to party with. But it just wasn't a good fit. And just want to do a shout out, Professional Monkey, Demons Row, Danny D. Lowe, Black Dragon. Much love to you guys. Keep doing what you do on twos. And I'm going to keep doing what I do down here, which is tool and leather and fixing this old barn. Peace out. Much love. And we'll see you on the next one. Nitro.